Hey folks, it's Don again. This is video number 91, and the title is Things We Caught. Everyone who has fished has caught something they didn't intend. Here are a few items that ended up on my hook or someone else's at one time or another. In school, my late friend Billy Hobbs and I rode our bikes over Jordan Hollow, also known as East Benton. We met up with another of my late friends, Bobby Rags Ragney. His mom was going to take us somewhere to fish. I don't remember where now. There are 10 lakes in Benton Township alone and more in the surrounding areas, as well as miles of streams. Anyway, we started to load the trunk of Rags' mom's car with our gear. Well, our small tackle boxes went in first. Remember, we rode our bikes 3 miles to get there, so we didn't take a lot of stuff. Next came the fishing poles. Billy and I put ours in while Rags went to the garage to get his. He walked past me to the trunk, and as he was placing his pole in, I felt a tug. The last time Rags fished, he just reeled the hook up into the first eye on the pole. Hook was sticking out. As he was putting it in the car, he snagged my left ear with the hook and was pulling me into the trunk too. Well, that ended that trip. Instead of fishing, I spent some time in the doctor's office. A second experience involved my first wife, Louise. We were down at Thomas's Pond. She wanted to know how to use the new reel I bought. I showed her how it functioned, and I made an overhand cast. As I was casting a jitterbug over my shoulder, I felt a tug, and then there was a small splash. Louise was closer than I thought. Out on the pond was a roll-up hat. I didn't hook her, but I plucked the hat right off her head. I got one of those sideways wifey looks. This time I was fishing in the Mashopin Creek down by the Kaiserville Bridge. I was using my ultralight pole with about 8 or 10 pound line and my trusty 408 reel. I threw a Mepps Gold No. 2 spinner my friend Ernie had made and dragged it across the pool. I got a good hit, and I started to retrieve the line. As I did, the fish was zigzagging in the current. In the stronger flow, it really got active, but it didn't act like a trout. A trout would have surfaced and jumped by now. I was beginning to wonder if I caught a sucker or something. I finally got my prize close enough to shore to pull it out of the water. Lo and behold, it was neither a trout or a sucker. It was somebody's old black t-shirt. Not too good for eating, but it sure put up a good fight on an ultralight pole. This last segment is kind of a reversal. It's not about what I caught trying to fish, but what I ended up using to catch a stringer full of fish. I had dug some worms and went over to my grandpa's place at Lake Sheridan. I was just bobber fishing off the dock. I was doing pretty good. The bluegills were really biting. I caught about half a dozen nice ones the size of your hand. I had also run out of worms. The fish were biting so well I didn't want to stop fishing. Around the dock the bank was moss covered and worms were scarce. I noticed the dark green paint on the dock was chipping and peeling some. I took a chip of green paint about the size of a fingernail and using a hook tip bored a hole in it so it would fit on the hook. It must have been magic paint. I caught a nice bluegill with every cast. The bobber would go down almost immediately, and the paint stayed on the hook. If I remember correctly, I caught 15 fish. The only reason I stopped was because I didn't want to clean anymore. Never underestimate the power of green paint. Well, writing this story has brought to mind some other fish-related escapades, I guess. So, keep an eye out for them. And as always, everyone, I wish everyone the best.